that person who's always 5 minutes late, 10 minutes, 20. The one who swears they left on time, genuinely believes it, and somehow still manages to make everyone wait every single time.
That person isn't disrespecting you. And here's what nobody tells you. They're probably not even doing it on purpose. Because according to psychology, chronic lateness isn't a character flaw, it's a window into how certain brains are actually wired. And what's happening inside those brains is a lot more fascinating than you think. Let's start with time itself. Most people experience time as linear. Minutes feel like minutes, an hour feels like an hour. But research shows that some people have what psychologists call time blindness, a genuine neurological difference in how the brain perceives the passage of time. Their internal clock runs differently. Not broken, just calibrated differently. And here's where it gets interesting. This isn't about laziness. Studies show that people with time blindness often work harder than average, try harder than average, and still can't seem to close the gap between intention and arrival. They leave with every intention of being on time. Their brain just doesn't register that 20 minutes have passed when it feels like 5. But wait, it gets weirder, because time blindness is heavily linked to dopamine regulation in the brain. And dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about motivation, attention, and crucially, your sense of urgency. People with lower dopamine sensitivity don't feel the ticking clock the way others do. The pressure that makes most people grab their keys and rush out the door simply doesn't register the same way. This is why chronic lateness shows up so frequently in people with ADHD. A 2019 study found that time perception deficits are one of the most consistent features of ADHD across all age groups. Not hyperactivity, not distraction, time. The brain genuinely struggles to feel how much of it is passing. But here's the thing nobody talks about. You don't need an ADHD diagnosis to have this wiring. Plenty of people sit somewhere on that spectrum without a label, and their lateness baffles them just as much as it baffles you. Now here's the part that explains everything. There's a psychological concept called optimism bias, the tendency to believe that things will go better and faster than they actually will. Everyone has it to some degree, but chronically late people have it dialed up significantly. They genuinely believe they can shower, dress, find their keys, and drive across town in 11 minutes, every time, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Their brain isn't lying to them on purpose, it's just perpetually optimistic about time, and that optimism feels completely rational from the inside. Here's something that sounds contradictory. Research from San Diego State University found that people who are consistently late tend to be more relaxed, more optimistic, and report higher life satisfaction than their punctual counterparts. They're also more likely to be creative thinkers, big-picture processors, who resist the tyranny of the clock because their minds are busy living somewhere slightly outside of linear time. That doesn't make the waiting okay, but it does make the person more human. And let's be honest about the darker layer. For some people, chronic lateness is anxiety wearing a disguise. The dread of arriving somewhere and having to stand alone, make conversation, be seen before they're ready. That discomfort keeps them home just a little longer, just one more minute, then another, until late becomes their default, and they've convinced themselves they're just bad at time. Some people are late because leaving means the thing is real, and real things can go wrong. But here's what's fascinating. Studies show that how someone handles being late tells you more about them than the lateness itself. Chronically late people who feel genuine guilt, who apologize without excuses, who actually try to fix it, those people aren't careless. They're fighting a battle inside their own brain that punctual people genuinely cannot see. The ones who shrug it off? That's a different conversation entirely. So what does all this mean? If you're someone who is always late, your brain isn't broken. It's running on a different operating system, one that prioritizes depth over schedule, optimism over precision, and presence over punctuality. That comes with real costs: lost trust, missed opportunities, frustrated people who love you. But it doesn't make you selfish. It makes you someone who needs better systems, not better intentions, because your intentions are probably already excellent.
And if you love someone who is always late, they are almost certainly not doing it to you. They're doing it in spite of themselves. There's a difference, and that difference is worth understanding.
Because the most frustrating people in your life are rarely the ones who don't care. They're usually the ones who care deeply and just can't figure out why the world keeps moving faster than they do.
If this hit closer to home than you expected, subscribe. And if you want to understand another misread personality type, the next video is going to explain something about quiet people that will completely change how you see them. Click it.